going on, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Stokastic NHL Strategy Show. I'm your host, Josh Harris. Last show before the Olympic break. We got 3 weeks off. I think it's like 19 and a half days. But 7-game slate here tonight after not a great 10-game slate last night. Cash lineups or optimizer lineups were optimal, and that's usually not a good sign if you are a stacker. But we are back here tonight. Last chance to win some lunch money before we take a few weeks off. Joining me to break down some Cliffy. What's going on?
Not too much. Yeah. Last night, probably the second time this week where if you game stacked the Nashville Predators game, you probably did extremely well. That's kind of the way that goes. Interesting that Nashville is again on the board here tonight. But yeah, Matt Boldy had a first period hat trick. I think he had a hat trick in the first, 12 minutes of the game or something like that.
Yeah.
Tough to overcome that. Just listen to music over there, are you?
Yeah. We're vibing over here.
Yeah. St. Louis and Dallas had a pretty entertaining game. I mean, I didn't see much of that. I was watching the Montreal game, and then I tuned in for the end of the Calgary Edmonton game. I did see the goal from Jimmy Snuggerud. Holy shit, man. That guy went through like 3 players and then used the defenseman as a screen on a beautiful shot. Like, I know it's a bad season for St. Louis, and we do have some St. Louis fans that watch, and, you know, they're not getting to the playoffs, but
we feel awful about it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, Jordan Kyrie's starting to come around over the last month. Robert Thomas and Dylan Hall. I mean, Robert Thomas at least should be back right after the break. Snuggerud has looked great. Broberg has looked solid. Worth his extension. Hofer, you know, he had a tough start to the season, but he's been pretty good over the last few months. So, like, there are some bright spots for the Blues. It'll be interesting to see what they do at the deadline and then this offseason. But, yeah, not here to dwell on the St. Louis Blues too much longer. Thankfully, we don't have to pay attention to them for 3 weeks. We do have 7 games on the board here tonight. A lot of the Eastern Conference, because a lot of the Western Conference teams are done for the break. A lot of the games tonight are Eastern Conference teams. 5 of the 7 games start at 7 o'clock Eastern. So even though we do have some teams on back-to-backs, you know, I guess the Kings are the late start. They're one of those teams on the back-to-back, so we'll have to watch out for that. Vegas as well, but should get most of the news early, which is always nice. And one big returning player in the Washington game at sub 3K, which is really going to throw a wrench in things. So it's going to be kind of an interesting slate to break down in that sense.
Yeah, Pierre-Luc Dubois is back for the Caps. He is confirmed the second-line center. He is 2,700, which is going to be a problem. But we'll get to that game when we get to that game. Let's get into this slate, though. We'll start it off with a 6.5 because there are a few 5.5s on the board here. And by few, I just mean one because I cannot count past one. Pittsburgh Penguins with a 3.1 total heading into Buffalo. The Sabres have a 3.5 total. Rickard Rakell got hurt in morning skate. He is out. I don't know what happened there. Hopefully it's a funny story and it's not too serious. What we both surmised was they're going to move Anthony Mantha up to the top line, top power play, bring Rutger McGroarty back into the lineup on the third line. So Pittsburgh, best guess is going to go Crosby, Mantha, Rust, Novak, Malkin, Chinnikov, Kindle, Brazeau, Rutger. Buffalo going Thompson, Tuck, Krebs, because, you know, why not? McLeod, Zucker, Quinn, Ostlund, Doan, Consta, Helenius. So I hate this. We're just gonna start here. Like, I hate that Peyton Krebs is on this top line because there hasn't been a Crosby Rust line that hasn't been good defensively in probably 5 years. Mantha coming up there, you know, probably helps a little bit, but it's not going to be something like Crosby, Mantha, Raquel defensively. They're probably just going to be below league average defensively, and that sucks because I wanted to play Buffalo 1. I was praging to the Pragers that they would move up Josh Doan or even like anyone but Peyton Krebs. But we did not get rewarded with that. Peyton Krebs is on the top line. Not only is Peyton Krebs on the top line, they have a 13.6% top two, 19.8% projected ownership. I'm not playing a 20% Peyton Krebs in this economy. Like, I just can't do it. And it sucks because like it's not like you can even leave him off and add in another power play guy. I mean, you could, but it's not a good power play spot. Pittsburgh has a very good penalty kill. So like a 20% Buffalo 1 with Peyton Krebs on it is just an absolute no from me, dog. If Peyton Krebs puts me 6 feet under, good for you. I'll weep for 3 weeks about it. I just can't do it. I think that would give my interest to Buffalo 2 here. McLeod, Zucker, Quinn. They have been very good in over 200-minute sample. The Novak line that they're going to run into, the Novak line has been below average defensively. The Kindle line with Brazeau and McGrodery, below average defensively. So I do really like Buffalo 2 here. They're coming in very negatively leveraged as well. 12.1K, 3.4% top two, 8.7% projected ownership. It's like, that's a little better than 20%, but like 9% on this line. Like, I get it. Like, there are some really expensive lines on the slate, and this does fit with some of them. And most fillers worth a damn are going to be negatively leveraged. This is just a lot of it. So I don't know. It's like the Ostlund, Doan, Hellenis line has been fine. They're under 10K, but they're coming in 4X their top two as well. So it's like, do I really want to be playing negatively leveraged Sabres? If I had to do it, it'd be the second and third lines. I'm not doing it with the top line at almost 20%. I think, if I'm going to eat ownership, it's going to be with McLeod, Zucker, and Quinn against the middle six of the Pens. I don't particularly love it, but that's probably where I'd be. On the Pittsburgh side, I think it's just Pittsburgh 1, assuming Mantha is there. It's fully correlated at 17,700. Crosby and Rust have been always good offensively together. Crosby and Mantha have been good offensively together. I don't know if these guys have a full sample together. I don't think so, but it should be similar to a Crosby, Rust, Raquel line, maybe a little bit worse, but like it's fully correlated. Mantha's 3,600, not 6K or whatever. So I do really like Pittsburgh 1 here, assuming it's Mantha. The Tage Thompson line below league average defensively. There really isn't a matchup concern. Like, I don't stack the Penguins for their power play prowess. It just helps that they're fully correlated. If you don't want to go to them, I think the second line also fine. Going up against the middle six of Buffalo. If the Pittsburgh middle six is bad defensively, so is the Buffalo middle six. So Novak, Malkin, Shinnikov have been excellent. They're priced a little bit above a filler at 13.6 though. That's the only concern. Like, if you're trying to spend up for the really expensive stuff, it's easier to fit Buffalo too. But that Pittsburgh second line is coming in with almost no ownership. So I don't mind them, assuming you don't want to spend up for Tampa or something like that. That's probably where I'd be. Pittsburgh 1, probably my favorite line in this game, and then both second lines are definitely playable.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of Peyton Krebs on the top line either, but it's one of those things where like I kind of get it, just because the second line has been pretty good offensively. I don't think you want to break them up. And the third line, like you said, with Doan has been pretty good as well. And it's something Buffalo hasn't had a lot of in the last few years, is a good third line.
Decades.
So it's like, it's not that Krebs, quote, belongs there. It's that probably like Tage and Tucker are good enough to carry somebody like Krebs. Like, if Greenway was healthy, maybe he'd be there instead. But like, I mean, I get it, but I mean, I really don't like it either. I was looking at, like, Thompson and Krebs actually have good offensive numbers together, but the majority of that sample is with Josh Doan. If you look at their sample without Josh Doan, 51 shot attempts, 2.6 expected goals per 60. Their shot attempts and their expected goals go down like 21%. Doan, he's been a great play driver and goal driver this season for Buffalo on every line, and that includes the top line. So I think they could struggle here. And as you mentioned, Pittsburgh's penalty kill has been tremendous. It's the best penalty kill in the NHL by goals against per minute over the last 5 weeks, and the third best penalty kill in the league over the course of the season. They are one of 3 teams, along with Chicago and Colorado, to be giving up fewer than 5 goals against per 60 at 4-on-5. So not a great spot for Buffalo and their power play. So I'm not super concerned about power play correlation. Like maybe it's not a bad matchup at 5-on-5, but I do think not having Brian Rust still there makes it a little bit better, like as opposed to Raquel. But I think like the matchup is fine for Buffalo, but as you said, like 20%, that's like a pretty hard pass for me. Just on ownership alone, like, overall, Pittsburgh's been a pretty good team defensively this season, right? Like, top 10 by goals against per 60 minutes in the league. So, imagine it's not Pittsburgh. Imagine it's a team like, Carolina or Seattle or something like that. I don't think I'd be too gung-ho on playing Buffalo 1. And the fact is there are a lot of lines between 14 and 18K here on the board. Pittsburgh 1 being one of them. There's lines from Washington, all 3 lines from the Panthers, top lines from Ottawa, the top line from the Islanders, the top line from Nashville. Like, there are a lot of spots to go that aren't going to be 20% owned. So I'm out on Buffalo 1. I'm one of the reasons why I think Buffalo 3 is in play if you're playing Tampa Bay's top line here tonight, or like Vegas power play, I guess. Other than that, I don't think you need guys that cheap. So I would probably go to Buffalo 2. Like, I don't like that, 8 to 9% ownership on them, but they've been very good offensively. Even I was looking just since Thanksgiving. So like excluding like the early portion of the season, they're at 3 expected goals, 3.4 actual. They get 16 to 17 minutes of ice time. So they get good ice time. And they're cheap enough where if you do want to play, like Roman Josi or something like that, you need, and you're playing a 20K line or you're playing Pittsburgh 1, like you can game stack them with Pittsburgh 1, something like you need a 12K line. Like, I think Buffalo 2 is perfectly fine. I think Buffalo 2 is the only line I really have interest in from the Sabres side. On the Pittsburgh side, like, I think they'll be just fine with Anthony Mantha on the top line, honestly, because it's absolutely wild how like every Pittsburgh forward that they brought in has been pretty good. Like, you think Novak got hurt after he got acquired last year, only played like a game or 2. He's been very good for them. Obviously, they drafted Ben Kindle. He's been great for them. Mantha's been great. Chinnikov, obviously. Like, every guy that they brought in has been pretty good. And I mean, some of that has to go to the coaching staff. I think the defense has been better than expected. But Mantha's always been a good player. He's just always had a tough time staying healthy. And with that line as cheap as it is, right? Like, you save $3K going from Raquel down to Mantha or near that, being perfectly correlated. And like, Buffalo's penalty kill started the season great, but over the last 5 weeks, they're basically in the middle of the league. And since Thanksgiving, they're 12th, which is like, it's good. It's above average, but there was a 2-month span there where Buffalo's penalty kill was tops in the league by a pretty wide margin. It's been on a steady slide for like better part of 2.5 months now. And Pittsburgh's power play has generally been one of the best in the NHL this season. And that's including Malkin missing time. It's including Rust missing time. Carlson has missed some games. Like, almost regardless of what the top power plays look like, it's been pretty good. So I think this is a good matchup for Pittsburgh 1. Buffalo's luck, maybe it starts to turn. It won't start to turn until after the Olympic break. But I think if I'm playing a top line out of this game, it's Pittsburgh 1, especially when you factor in that they're going to be a lot lower owned than Buffalo 1. So I think Pittsburgh 2 is just fine. Like, they've been great together. 64 shot attempts, 4.2 expected goals per 60. Even Tommy Novak has 9 points in his last 10 games. So Malkin's on the top power play. Chinnikov's been scoring, but even Novak's been very productive. I think Pittsburgh 2 is perfectly fine as a filler at 13.6. But I think this is a game where, even factoring in the price, I'd rather play Pittsburgh 1. So for this game, it goes Pittsburgh 1, Buffalo 2 for me.
Yeah, any Leafs fans here? Kyle Dubas doing work. That's what happens when you don't have a core 4 boat anchored to your ankle. But anyway, before we move on to the next game, we have a $20 super chat from Grade A Fantasy. Been a while, fellas, but new promotion and responsibilities at work has me miss some shows, but still catch it when I can. Use your promo code and always give a thumbs up on the vids. Enjoy the break. Arden from Yonkers. Congrats on your new promotion. I got your check in the mail. I do appreciate it. But we do appreciate the super chat. Do appreciate you always tuning in, supporting us. We love to see it. If you are, obviously you are playing DFS since you used the promo code. Good luck tonight. Hopefully you recoup that money.
Yeah, always appreciate the support. Understandably, haven't been catching as many videos lately. Congrats on your promotion. Hopefully everything's going well. If you are playing tonight, good luck. If not, enjoy the Olympic break. It's going to be some pretty good hockey once the men's tournament gets going.
Sorry if this has been discussed ad nauseum. Will DK have Olympic hockey? I don't know. I can't get through to anyone at DK. They block me because I'm annoying. But I would assume so. Maybe not in the group stage other than showdowns, but as soon as they get to the elimination, they'll definitely have some decent showdowns, I would guess.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a week ago. The only thing that concerns me is the Four Nations specifically had only guys from the NHL. So they were known quantities to a pretty large extent. Once you get to the elimination stage, if you get teams like Norway or Switzerland or Germany or something in there, there's going to be a handful of NHLers on them, but most of those teams are not NHLers, and I just don't know how DK would price it. So, I mean, I think maybe like a semifinal showdowns or 2-game or a final showdown or something. I think that's possible, but I don't think you're going to see anything further round robin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath, but, maybe we'll be in for a nice surprise to win possibly $38 the first. Let's move on to the 5.5 on the board. New York Islanders with a 2.8 total heading into Newark, New Jersey. It's a bit sus. The Devils also have a 2.8 total. I don't know what DFO is doing with the Devils lines. I don't want to slander them too much here, but they practiced yesterday and they had clear placeholders for Connor Brown and Nico Hischier. So I think they're going to go Hischier, Bratt, Dadonov, Glass, Lenny Ham, Grietzuk, and then Mercer, Meyer, Brown. That's what they practiced yesterday with a placeholder for Nico Hischier. They had optional this morning. So that's what I think the Devils lines are going to be. Islanders going Horvat, Barzal, Palat, Ritchie, Heineman, Drouin, Pajot, Lee, Holmstrom. I know this game is a 5.5, but I kind of like the Islanders top line here. Again, it's a Palat issue for me. I don't particularly love him here. If you live on the street that narratives live on, you can say Palat's back in New Jersey. I guess him and Dadonov can just chat while everyone else skates, but that's probably, if I had to go to Islanders line, it would be that top line, 16,700. Horvat and Barzal together this season have been excellent. Palat probably doesn't help that at all, but it's the Peyton Krebs, Evgeny Dadonov conundrum. I think it's fine. They took Palat off the top power play, put Callum Ritchie on, whatever that means. But it would be the Islanders top line for me. I'm not playing Islanders 2 with Johnny Drouin centered. Second line can just be an absolute pass for me. That third line's a bit interesting. just because there's no way a Mercer-Meyer-Brown line is going to be any good defensively. The Islanders' third line has been pretty good offensively. They're 11,500. I would just throw them into the bag of fillers for MME. Like, I'd rather play Buffalo too in single entry, but I don't mind Pajot, Holmstrom, Lee. I think you can do worse for third lines here tonight, but it is an Islanders one game for me. On the Devils side, like Hischier and Bratt together this season have been excellent. I just don't know what Evgeny Dodonov brings to the table. Just lead in his skates, maybe. Like, he hasn't been good. I mean, listen, he's an NHL player and he would skate laps around my idiotic head, but like, I don't think he's been like a top six winger since his Dallas days, really. Maybe even the Habs. But I just don't know what he brings to the table. That line is only 13,800 with him, though. Bratt and Hischier have been great, but I think for me on the Devil side, it'd be going to Glass, Gritsuk, and Hamania Howe. I don't know. Glass and Gritsuk have played excellent together this season. The Islanders aren't a good defensive team. What I do worry about is minutes now that they put Mercer, Meyer, and Brown on the quote-unquote third line, but I think they're really going to be the second line, so they may only play like 13 to 15 minutes. But at that price, it doesn't really matter. The matchups are good. It would be New Jersey 2 for me. I think New Jersey 1's fine. Dodonov just doesn't do anything for me, and it would be Islanders 1 for me.
Yeah, I'll start on the Devil side. I mean, the one line I have interest in, I agree on the Cody Glass line, because Cody Glass and Gritsuk have been good together. They have 250 minutes together this season, 66 shot attempts, 3 expected goals, 3.4 actual goals per 60 at 5-on-5. Like, they've been very, very good offensively. Gritsuk's hit a bit of a cold streak. He has 1 goal in his last 16 games, but obviously Cody Glass has been pretty good lately. All three guys are priced between 2,900 and 3,300. So if you want a two-man like Glass and Gritsuk or Glass and Haminaho or something like that.
Haminaho, there we go.
Or just all three of them, because you are playing Tampa Bay or Vegas or something like that, I think that's fine, because, I mean, the three-man stack is 9,300. So 1 goal and that, you're underway. And they've been very, very good. They're the only line I have interest in, because, like, I think it was Amanda Stein, the team reporter, was talking to Nico Hischier, because Nico Hischier missed games with an illness. He got one of those illnesses that has been going around where he lost 10 pounds. And he said outright he's still feeling the effects of the illness. And you got to think, like, this is a Devils team where the top 6 has very much struggled to score. I mean, basically since October, certainly over the last couple months. And all of a sudden now Nico Hischier, coming off a pretty serious illness where he said he's still feeling the effects and that he straight up lost 10 pounds on a team that couldn't score anyway, facing a New York Islanders squad that has been pretty good at limiting goals against. I mean, it's been Ilya Sorokin, but Ilya Sorokin's been tremendous at limiting goals against. Like, I'm out on those top New Jersey lines. For me, it's the Cody Glass line. Use them as a filler for your Tampa Bay and Vegas stacks. So my interest is on the Islanders side. I mean, here's the thing with Andre Palat being on the top line. They booted him off the top line in their last game. By the end of the second period, he was taken off that line and Simon Holmstrom was there. I think that gives an indication on the kind of leash that Andre Palat has. Now, this is the Devils. So, their last game was against Pittsburgh, an actually good team, not a fraud team like the Devils. So you got to assume that they'll be able to carry the play, but Palat's not a guarantee to stay there, right? Like, that is a bit of a concern for me. Like, he's cheap enough where, if he does what he did last game, which I think he had an assist and a shot, like, okay, like, it's not a great night, but whatever. I wish the Islanders power play was a little bit better, so I could just put Holmstrom up there with them for some power play stack, but it is Islanders 1. Like, Palat and Bo Horvat have not been good together since Palat got there. 53 shot attempts, 2.5 expected goals for, 3.2 against. I mean, I think they'll be fine offensively against the Devils just because they have not been a good defensive team, whether it's injuries or illness or anything else. They just haven't. So I think Islanders 1 is easily my favorite line in this game. I really wish it was Holmstrom or Lee or even Callum Ritchie or someone else on that top line, because I just don't have any faith in Palat as a player, and I don't have any faith in Palat staying there the entire game. I also agree that Islanders 3 firmly in play, 2.9 expected goals for per 60, 55 shot attempts per 60 as a unit this season. They've been pretty good. So I think if you want to use them as a filler, fine. But for me, it's Islanders 1 and the Cody Glass line from the Devils side.
Yeah. Carolina Hurricanes, 3.8 total, heading into Madison Square Garden. The Rangers have a 2.6. Hurricanes going Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, Stankoven, Hall, Blake, Stahl, Martinook, Ehlers. Rangers traded Panarin yesterday, so they are going to be going Zibanejad, Miller, Perreault, Trocheck, Lafreniere, Cooley, Laba, Radish, Brzezinski. Why Johnny Brzezinski is still on the team and Brett Berard is in the minors, don't know. But it doesn't matter because the Rangers suck, and their top line is getting 12.2% projected ownership at 15,300. I'll make it quick for you. I'm out on the Rangers. I have no interest in that line at 12%. They're not controlling the play. They're not creating a bunch. They are scoring because Mika Zibanejad was running hot for a few weeks there. But going into they're at home, but they're going to see Carolina 1. Okay, they're a little bit below league average defensively. That's nice. But this Rangers line is below league average offensively. They can't control the play, and they're not doing anything. So I'm out on them. Trocheck, Lafreniere, and Cooley in 3 games, atrocious. Out on them. Not playing a min-price Laba, Radish, Brzezinski line, not creating anything. I'm out on them. Anyway, on the Hurricane side, let's see here. I think there's 3 lines in play because the Rangers are atrocious. That top line, 20,300, 14% top 2, 4.5% projected ownership. Listen, they're fully correlated. They have 3.4 expected goals for, 3.6 actual, and 330 minutes together. The Zibanejad line, the Trocheck line, both below league average defensively. There's still no Adam Fox. There's still no Igor Shesterkin. Panarin is gone. Those are the 3 most important Rangers. Without one of them, they struggle. Without 2 of them, they're terrible. Without all 3, they're probably the worst team in the NHL. I do really like Carolina 1 here. The Rangers penalty kill, I mean, it's been fine, but it's kind of been save percentage related. So I'm good with Carolina 1 here. Now, there are a bunch of expensive lines that are definitely playable here tonight. We'll talk about Vegas while we talk about Tampa, but this is one of the better matchups at 5-on-5. I do really like Carolina 1. I do worry that the game's just not going to be competitive and they'll only play 16, 17 minutes, and they have 3 lines that are definitely capable of scoring. So I have that in the back of my head, but I do really like Carolina 1 here. Carolina 2, still very, very good offensively. They've been sliding a bit defensively, but I'm not super concerned about that here. They're 10,900, definitely in play as a filler. That third line also in play, 11,600. You don't have to do all 3 like a Stahl Ehlers 2-man, completely fine here. They both get power play time. They've been excellent together this season, but Carolina 1's my favorite. They have 3 playable lines out on the Rangers.
Yeah, I'll say this much. I was looking at Zibanejad and Miller. They played over 160 minutes at 5-on-5 this season without Panarin or Fox on the ice. They're at 3.3 goals per 60. Now, it's shooting over 13%, which I think is a little bit too high. maybe they can be league average. And that's a little bit of a slap in the face. But if they can be league average and play the minutes they're playing, which is like 21 to 22 minutes a game, 23 minutes a game, like that's worth something. Is it worth 15,300 on this slate? I don't know, dog. Yeah, coming in with a little bit of negative leverage, like I don't know. The thing is like they're falling into that trap or that problem that I talked about with Buffalo, right? Is like there are a lot of lines in that 15 to 18K range that are very playable here tonight. So I honestly don't hate the Rangers top line that much. I think for me, it'd be more like 20 max and above. A single entry, I'm probably just out on the Rangers. Carolina's penalty kill has been improving. Rangers power play, their top power play unit hasn't been that bad. It's only been a bit below average since Fox got hurt. A lot of it, I think, is also shooting percentage driven. So I'm not going to bank on that. I think Rangers 1 would be the line I would play. I think it would be 20 max and above. I don't think I'm going to get there in single entry. The question is what to do on the Carolina side. Listen, for the defensive or the offensive play that Zibanejad and Miller have shown without Fox on the ice, the defensive play, not that great. 66 shot attempts against, 3 expected goals against per 60. That is pretty bad defensive numbers, and we know how good Carolina 1 has been. They are 20,300 now. The Rangers penalty kill has been fine. It's been basically the middle of the league pretty much all season, but they are taking penalties, right? 8th most time shorthanded per game over the course of the season, about league average for time shorthanded per game. 8th most over the last 5 weeks, around league average over the course of the season. So it's something that's been getting worse as the season's gone on. And Carolina's power play has certainly shown signs of life. I was looking at Carolina 1 since Jacob Slavin came back, 69 shot attempts per 60, 4.9 goals per 60. They've been tremendous. I do think there is ice time concerns. I think you're right about that. Like, especially even if like this is like a 4-2 game for Carolina or something, they might only play 17 to 19 minutes. Like that is a little bit of a concern. But the thing is like you look at the other lines in that price range, it's like, is Vegas 1 going to play a whole lot more? I mean, maybe like a minute more per player. Like instead of 17 or 19, it's like 18 to 20 or like 18 to 21. Pitt 1 hasn't been playing a whole lot lately. Like those guys aren't like the comparable lines aren't getting a ton of ice time either. And I do think of all the teams that Carolina is in the best matchup. So of the lines that are right around 20K, I would be playing Carolina 1. What to do with the depth, I think, is the bigger question. For me, I would probably go down to the Stahl line, Stahl, Ehlers, Martinook, because of ice time. They're getting 16 to 18 minutes. Like that, that Stankoven line, sometimes they're only getting like 13 minutes a game. Like they are the third line now. Whereas that Stahl line, like since Jacob Slavin got there, 69 shot attempts, 2.5 goals per 60. It's only league average, but league average against the Rangers is 20% better than against most teams.
It's science.
You'll get one of Ehlers or Stahl on the top power play unit. So I kind of like Carolina 3 here as a filler, but Carolina 1 is easily my favorite line in this game.
Man, that's such a good super chat. Before we move on, we have a $4.99 super chat from the Haas. Gonna suck without your elite analysis the next couple weeks, Cliffy. John, please advise on prior biz proposal. Thank you for your time. Enjoy break. Let me tell you something, Haas. This dude won a $341 qualifier ticket. Didn't realize the last qualifier was a few days ago. They refunded him. He wants to trade me $340 for $340 of pizza from my pizza place. I will do it. Just send me some dry ice. But thank you for the super chat, Haas. We're gonna do some cooking shows we're gonna stream some cooking shows over break. We get all the viewership. What do you think? But thank you.
I mean, I'm not going to. I think you guys definitely should. I do want Haas to drop the pizza order in the Discord. I don't know, like I have no idea what it'd be, like 10 large pizzas, 15 large pizzas, whatever it is. I want Haas to drop let's just say 12. What are the 12 pizzas you're getting? Let us know in the Discord. Thanks for the support. Certainly appreciate it.
Yeah. Hit me up with the order. We'll make it happen. I just need some dry ice. Ottawa Sens with a 3.1 total heading into Philadelphia. It's really cold there right now. The Flyers have a 2.7 total. Ottawa going Stützle, Batherson, Giroux, Cousins, Tkachuk, Grieg, Pinto, Amadio, Cousins. Flyers, they don't have confirmed lines, and Konechny didn't skate because of maintenance, but they'll probably be running back Dvorak, Urbankin, Konechny, Zegras, Barkey, Tippett, Cates, Michkov, Brink.
Just like, I'm gonna look it up right now real quick, but I'm pretty sure that's what they had. They had somebody posted about morning skate today, and that's what they had. So
okay, perfect. So here's the thing: like, the Flyers' power play isn't very good, and the Sens are very, very good at 5-on-5. The Stützle line better than league average. The Cousins line better than league average. The Pinto line better than league average. Linus Ullmark has looked like Linus Ullmark the last two games. I guess if anything, it would be Zegras, Tippett, Barkey at 12-8. But again, you have Buffalo 1 that's cheaper. We just mentioned a bunch of $10,000 and $11,000 lines. This Zegras line may see the Pinto line, which is their best defensive line at 1.75 expected goals against per 60. So it's just like, I want power play correlation, but who cares, because the Flyers power play sucks. So I guess it would be like Dvorak, Konechny, Urbankin, but they're getting absolutely run out of the rink. So I'm probably out on fly. I guess like a Bobby Brink one-off. But, I don't think I'm full stacking in single entry with the Flyers. If you happen to get somewhere in like 20 to 150 max and you have a little bit, fine, leave it. But I don't really like the Flyers in this matchup. I do like the Sens in this matchup. Now, I'm wondering who they go out against. Like Dvorak, Konechny, Urbankin probably go out against Stützle just because they played a ton of minutes. And when I tell you that Dvorak, Konechny, Urbankin have been bad in their four games at 5-on-5, they're getting run out of the rink. It's a small sample, so I don't even want to say the numbers, but they are atrociously bad. Stützle, Batherson, Giroux have been very good in 71 minutes together. 3.2 expected goals for, 3.3 actual controlling the play. Their pace is slow, but it's the Ottawa Senators. The one thing, Dan Vladar is back, and he has been much better than any other goalie in that organization. But that top line with Stützle is only 15,400. I'd much rather play this Stützle line than anything on the Rangers. They're coming in 3.8% top two, 2.5% projected ownership. Now, if you want to go down to the Cousins, Tkachuk, Grieg line, like, they have been excellent offensively. The one thing that I am a little bit concerned about is that the Noah Cates line has been very good defensively. Tippett and Barkey have good defensive numbers together. With Zegras at center, that remains to be seen. But, I think I want to take advantage of the best 5-on-5 matchup, and that would be the Stützle, Batherson, Giroux line. Again, no issue with Cousins, Tkachuk, Grieg for $900 more, but I'd go to Stützle, Batherson, Giroux here. If you need a cheap filler, Pinto, Amadio, Cousins in play. They have been very good in 75 minutes. Obviously, they haven't been finishing, but that's what you get for a $9,800 line. So Ottawa 1 is my favorite thing in this game. I think Ottawa 2 is fine. Nothing really for me on the Flyer side.
Yeah, I do wonder about the 5-on-5 matchups because when Ottawa's in Carolina basically stapled the Jordan Staal line against Cousins and Tkachuk. And
that's a smart organization, though.
That's true. So it makes me wonder, like, if the Flyers are going to send out Dvorak, because it is important. Like you mentioned, it's a small sample with Urbankin. I'll make it a bigger sample, just without Trevor Zegras. They're over 100 minutes for Dvorak and Konechny. 38 shot attempts for, 79 against per 60. 2.2 expected goals for, 4.5 against. Getting throttled when they're on the ice. Like Zegras has been one of the better play drivers that the Flyers have this season. I wouldn't put it all on Krabankin. Like I don't think they have another winger that could really help. I mean, they do have wingers that could probably help them offensively, but certainly not that much defensively.
The slander,
the
Rodrigo Abols slander.
I mean, I think it would be Tyson Forrester up there. It's just too bad like his season's done, but like they've been terrible. So honestly, I think they're going to be matched up against Tkachuk, Cousins, Grieg, and that is a tremendous matchup for Tkachuk, Cousins, Grieg. They're up to 95 minutes together, 3.7 expected goals, 4.8 actual goals per 60, and it's a great power play matchup for the Sens. Ottawa, 3.4 time short power play opportunities per game over the last 5 weeks. It's the third highest rate in the league. Over the course of the season, they're at 3.3 power play opportunities per game, the third highest rate in the league. Conversely, Philadelphia, over the last 5 weeks, 9th most time shorthanded per game. Over the course of the season, 7th most time shorthanded per game. Not only should Ottawa get a fair number of power plays here tonight, but the Flyers' penalty kill has been flat out bad. Bottom 6 in the league over the last 5 weeks. 21st in the league over the course of the season. So a lot of power play opportunities against a bad penalty kill. Tkachuk, Cousins, Grieg has 2 of those 3 guys are on the top power play. I do think this is one spot where if you want a power play stack, you can do it. You take out Grieg, you put in one of Batherson or Stützle. Now it does get expensive, but even a Stützle, Cousins, Tkachuk 3-man is 19,200. You know what I mean? Like it's less than the Vegas top line or the Carolina top line, a lot less than Tampa Bay. So I do think it's at the very least it's the Tkachuk line I like on the Ottawa side. I might be tempted to take out Grieg and put in Tim Stützle just because Stützle does get a lot of ice time, including with the empty net. If you want to leave Grieg in just because that line has been good with him and it lowers the average cost per player, I think that's perfectly fine. But it's the Tkachuk line on the Ottawa side for me. On the Philadelphia side, like it's certainly not the top line. Man, that team. I would probably go to Zegras, Tippett, and Barkey. The only reason I'd say that is because I think you can make it, other than Konechny, I think Zegras and Tippett have been their 2 best forwards, offensive forwards, at least this season. And that they're both on the same line together would push me in that direction. And they have been, 280 minutes together for Tippett and Zegras, 57 shot attempts, 3.1 expected goals, 4 actual per 60. They have been productive when they've been able to get ice time together. I don't mind Philadelphia 2 as a filler at 12,800. Like I'd rather play them than the Kings or anything from the Devils or something like that. I'd probably rather play them over Buffalo 2, honestly. But Buffalo 2 does have the higher top 2 stack. But I do think they're fine as a filler. But for me, it's easily Ottawa 2 I like best in this game. And like I said, I'd be tempted to take out Grieg and put in Stützle.
Nashville Predators with a 2.8 total heading into Washington. The Capitals have a 3.7. Preds last night went O'Reilly, Stamkos, Evangelista, Haula, Forsberg, Marchessault, McCarron, Smith, Bunting. The only line we know for sure on Washington is Dubois, Protas, Wilson. I'm going to assume it's going to be Strome, Ovechkin, Beauvillier, and then Sordif, Leonard, and Frank. I'll start on the Nashville side because it's a lot easier. It's Nashville 1 or bust. It's a good power play spot. You get 2 to 3 on the power play. That line with Evangelista and in a fairly decent sample has been excellent. I have no interest in the second line. Like Marchessault has been awful this season. Haula does nothing for me. Forsberg's fine, but that's an expensive $7,400 one-off on the road back-to-back. So it would be Nashville 1 or bust for me. What to do on the Washington side. So now that second line with Dubois is only 13,700 because Pierre-Luc Dubois is 2,700. Now they're coming in with a fair bit of ownership here, 6.4% top 2, 14.3% ownership. Ovechkin, Strome, Beauvillier, 15,400, 9.5% top 2. 16% projected ownership. I would assume Dubois, Wilson, Protas are going to see the O'Reilly line. Maybe they split time with Dowd. Who knows? But generally speaking, when Dubois is healthy, they send him out against top comp because they've been good defensively. That O'Reilly Evangelista line has been very good defensively. Now, they are back-to-back on the road. That counts for something. We were discussing Saros versus Anuin before the show. By goals saved above expected this season, Justice Anuin has been better. It is obviously a much smaller sample for Anuin. I don't know, man. That's a lot of ownership. I don't know how much Pierre-Luc Dubois is going to play. It's not like he was getting like 21 minutes when they're rolling 3 lines. Maybe he plays 16. I just don't know. The thing is, like Strome, Ovechkin, Beauvillier are in such a better 5-on-5 matchup. That Hall of Marchessault Forsberg line and the McCarron line are just especially the Hall line, just atrocious defensively. I'd maybe just go Washington 1 here at 16%, but I would leave off Beauvillier and either add in Wilson or Leonard for more power play. If you do Leonard, it's 16,900. If you do Wilson, it's 18,400. It's not super expensive. I'd probably just go Washington 1 here. If you want to leave Beauvillier, that's fine. Like they're still good offensively. That Hall line's atrocious defensively. Kind of interested in Sordif, Leonard, Frank. Now I know Leonard and Frank have a small sample together of not being great, but I don't know who that's really with. I don't think it's with Sordif, and Sordif has been excellent this season. They're 11,800 against bottom 6 matchups of Nashville, so I don't mind taking a stab on them as a filler, but for me, it would be both top lines.
Yeah. Sordif's his minutes with Ryan Leonard have generally been with Connor McMichael. I don't think Ethan Frank is really going to be that different from Connor McMichael, so I'm unsure how good that line is going to be. I will say, I'm not playing Washington 2 here tonight. I can say that with a fairly high level of confidence. One, there's just a lot of ownership on them. And the thing is like that line, the first projection run was like 12.5%. Now they're up to 14.5%. I bet you see some of those, especially Pierre-Luc Dubois. He's going to be highly prioritized in any kind of optimizer like that. I think you're going to see him over 20%. But there's 2 other reasons besides that. One, Tom Wilson has played 9 games since he came back from injury. In those, or 8 games, sorry, since he came back from injury. In those 8 games, he has 9 shots on goal. 9.7 shot attempts per 60 minutes in the 8 games since he came back. His shot rate has completely plummeted. No goals in that span. So not only he's not shooting, he's not scoring. I don't like to say it too often. I do wonder if he's playing hurt to a degree where it's really affecting his ability to create anything. And that's a problem because Pierre-Luc Dubois has not played since October. Okay. So PLD is coming back after over 3 months off and 2 surgeries, one on his adductor and one on his abdominal, I think. If you want to look at what that can do to a player, look at what Matt Tkachuk has done since he came back from injury. Now, I'll talk about Florida in a second, and Tkachuk has had a couple good games. Almost all of Tkachuk's production has come on the power play. At 5-on-5, his play has been god-awful. So I worry about that for Pierre-Luc Dubois, especially after over 3 months off and just getting dropped into the middle of the season. And I honestly do wonder if Tom Wilson's playing through some kind of injury because since he came back, he's just not been anything close to himself. So I worry about PLD. I worry about Wilson at, ownership projection approaching 3x the top 2 stack. I think it's an easy fade for me. And I'm not playing Washington 3, so it's Washington 1. And like you said, they're going to avoid that Evangelista matchup. And the Nashville second line, small sample, but 76 shot attempts against per 60. Bunting and McCarron in their time together, 62 shot attempts against per 60. Washington's top line is going to get some very good 5-on-5 matchups. I would probably take out Beauvillier and just put in Leonard and make it a power play stack. Just because I don't think Beauvillier is going to last the whole game there anyway. And, Washington's power play with Leonard has been a lot better. And at 16,900, you can fit them in with your other mid-price stacks, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Islanders, what have you. So definitely Washington 1 for me. If I probably would take out Beauvillier and put in Leonard. On the Nashville side, as bad as some of those lines are defensively, the depth has been good offensively, or at least, passable. But that Nashville line of O'Reilly, Stamkos, Evangelista, I keep saying it, Evangelista is, I think, arguably been their best forward this season, at least offensively. And, that top line since Thanksgiving's at 63 shot attempts, 3.6 expected goals, 4 per 60. If they do use Pierre-Luc Dubois in a shutdown role, if this was game 1 of the season, I'd probably just straight up fade the Nashville top line. But Pierre-Luc Dubois has missed over 3 months, hasn't played in over 3 months. Tom Wilson hasn't looked himself since he came back. Logan Thompson is coming back from an injury himself tonight. The Caps are taking a boatload of penalties. Nashville in general over the last couple months has been very has improved a lot offensively, let's say. So 15,700 for Nashville 1, I think that's perfectly fine for me. And I don't really feel the need to drop Evangelista for one of Forsberg or Marchessault. I guess if you want to, you can take off Evangelista and put in Marchessault, save $700, get some more power play correlation, because it is a pretty good power play spot for Nashville. But Evangelista has been good enough where 4,700 for him for purely even 17 minutes of even strength time, I think is perfectly fine. I think this is a spot where you can game stack as well and just use both top lines because neither are that expensive. So for me, it's Washington 1, then Nashville 1. I'm not as interested in the depth as I am in some other games.
Florida Panthers, 2.6 total. Heading into Tampa, the Lightning have a 3.4. Florida played last night, and they had guys get hurt. Vilmanis and Bjorn Fott got hurt. The coach had a bunch of guys might not play today after playing yesterday. I don't know what that means. Maybe Marchand's going to be out.
Well, Vilmanis wasn't hurt. He got kicked out.
Oh, ejected, right?
Yeah, he got kicked out for elbowing McAvoy, but they said he's not getting suspended, so he could be back in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, what we have in top stacks is Lundell, Reinhart, Luosterainen, Bennett, Greer, Kachuk, Rodriguez, Verhaeghe, Marchand. Who knows? We thought we knew the lines yesterday, and they were just like, "Nah, you don't." These are the lines now. So Tampa going Gensel, Kucherov, Hagel, James, Bjorkstrand, Gonsalves, Gord, Holmberg, Zegmis, Gergensens. On the Florida side, I know Lundell had a monster game yesterday. That'd probably be the line I'd go to, assuming it's the line Lundell, Luosterainen, and Reinhart. 3.5% top two, 2.1% projected ownership at 14,400. At that price, Lundell and Reinhart are going to push 20 minutes, maybe even be above. I don't mind it, assuming that's the line. They come back with Lundell, Reinhart, Verhaeghe. That line 17,400, and it's a little bit of a different conversation. But with Luosterainen there at 2,900, I think it's playable. Just have to see what the lines look like. I'm not super interested in playing Bennett Kachuk right now. So it would be Lundell, Reinhart, assuming they're together. The real question is, what do you do with the Tampa Bay top line? They are 24,700. They have a 43% top two stack percentage on a 7-game slate, 17.4% projected ownership. Not really surprised in their 2 games together. They have been excellent offensively. Florida is not a good defensive team. They take a ton of penalties. there are so many lines that we talked about in like the 9,500 to 12K range that we've already talked about that like normally I don't like spending up for that expensive. I think this is one of those situations where you can. It's not like Kucherov, Gensel point last season at 26,300 and they were only like 2.9 expected goals for per 60. This line is just nitrous. And it's not like Jake Gensel's out of place. Cliffy talked about he's taken like 600 faceoffs this season. Matchup concerns, none. Lots of penalties on the Panthers side. You can argue the only negative here is that Tarasov's in net and it's not Bob. So, like, what are you going to do? I do really like Tampa 1. They're easily the number one stack on the board. They're almost 25K. If you can get comfortable fitting them, you play them. You want to one-off Bjorkstrand or something like that. He's 3,300 on the power play. Cool. But this is a Tampa 1 game through and through. If it's Lundell, Reinhart, Luosterainen, I'd have some interest in that line on the Florida side, but don't particularly love them.
Yeah, I'm not super keen on Florida here. The big reason being that this is a pretty bad power play matchup for them. Tampa Bay over the last 5 weeks, is at 2.4 times shorthanded per game. It's one of the 10 lowest rates in the league. Over the course of the season, it has been a lot worse. They have taken a lot more penalties, I should say, but the penalty kill itself has been excellent. 7th fewest goals against per minute over the course of the season. So, I said earlier how Tkachuk has been very power play reliant since he came back. He's up to 8 points in his 9 games. 6 of those 8 points have come on the power play. And again, at 5-on-5, him and Bennett, 44 shot attempts, 1.9 expected goals for per 60. And Tampa's is a great defensive team. It's just a bad matchup for them. So I'm not in on the Tkachuk Bennett line. Reinhart, Lundell, Luosterainen, I guess they're fine, but they haven't really been that good offensively this season. So I think if Marchand, Verhaeghe, Rodriguez is a line, I would have interest in them. Here's the problem. I don't know if anybody looked closely at the game log last night. Brad Marchand played less than 11 minutes in a game that went to a shootout. He didn't play the last 5 minutes of the third period or any in overtime. And remember, he's just coming back from injury. And this is a back-to-back. I don't know how much he actually plays here tonight.
I don't even know if he plays.
That's the other thing. He might just take the night off. So, if it's Marchand, Verhaeghe, Rodriguez, that would be a little bit of interest to me. Marchand and Verhaeghe this season, 69 shot attempts, 3.2 expected goals, 3.4 actual. Now, I think a lot of that was with Sam Bennett, so it's a different story with Evan Rodriguez. But Rodriguez has been solid this season, but I do worry about their ice time. This is just a terrible matchup. And I get the reasons for playing Florida because they do have low ownership. You know who else has low ownership is Ottawa, and they're playing the Flyers. You know what I mean? Not the top, arguably the top team in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia Flyers. So I'm just out on the Panthers. I think this is a Tampa game. It depends where you want to go. Obviously Tampa 1 is just unbelievably expensive at 24,700. We've also gone over some lines that are under 10K tonight. You know what I mean? So listen, I think the case for playing Tampa 1 is the minutes, right? If you look at the game they played on Tuesday night, Kucherov was at the low end at 22.5 minutes. Brandon Hagel played 25.5, and Jake Gensel played over 26. That was an overtime game, so maybe it's 21 to 24 minutes. But those guys are going to get a pile of ice time. And Florida's not been good defensively. I do wish it was Bobrovsky instead of Tarasov because Bobrovsky's been probably one of the 3 or 4 worst starters in the league this season. Pardon me. But, there's no matchup concerns for me coming back from Florida. If this was an 11-game slate, I would just straight up be passing on Tampa Bay 1. But a 7-game slate where there are some lines around the 10K mark that I think are playable. We went over one that glass line from New Jersey, I think is playable. We went Pittsburgh 3 playable, Buffalo 3 playable. Like there are some lines that I think are playable around 10K or less here tonight. So listen, Tampa Bay 1 is the top line on the night, and it's not even it's not even close by top 2 stacks. It's not even close with the stuff that I use, or some of the stuff that I use either. So like they are the best line of the night. It's just whether you have some guys that you want to fit in at 20 or at 10K and under for a stack, or a 2-man stack around 6K or something like that. But it's a great spot for Tampa 1. It's obviously my interest in this game. Don't really have a lot of interest in Florida.
It's definitely Mantha on the top line, not McGroarty. I would assume so, yeah, because they healthy scratched him the other night, and when he was in, he was on the third line. So I would bet. I'm not a betting man. I am a betting man, but I would bet on Mantha being up there.
Yeah, I mean, and then the thing is like that is an early lock, so we'll know at 6:30 Eastern at warm up anyway. But I think it's gonna be Mantha.
Los Angeles Kings with a 2.9 total heading into Vegas. The Golden Knights have a 3.1. Kings going Kopitar, Armia, Moore, Laferriere, Perry, Kempe, Byfield, Fiala, Kuzmenko. It's a back-to-back for them. Panarin is not playing. Vegas also on a back-to-back, and they completely just went back to old lines, like quickly in that game. So it was Eichel, Stone, Barbashev, Marner, Dorofeyev, Smith, Hertl, Holtz, Kolesar. On the Kings side, like Aiden Hill's been bad this season, but you know who else has been bad? The Kings. Like they need a center. I mean, like Panarin's an unbelievable acquisition. He's not playing tonight, obviously, but they need someone down the middle. Like the Kopitar line, I don't even think they've generated an expected goal in their 3 games. The Laferriere, Perry, Kempe. Like, I love Alex Laferriere. He's not a center. He's not a second-line center in the NHL. Byfield, Fiala, Kuzmenko getting run over because Kuzmenko is not a defensive player. So, and it's not a good power play matchup. Like, Vegas just doesn't take penalties. So, I'm probably out on the Kings. Like, I guess if like you put a gun to my head and say you have to play a Kings line, it'd be Laferriere, Kempe, Perry, but I'm just not playing the Kings. Vegas is interesting because it's, the Kings take a lot of penalties. Anton Forsberg is a step down from Kemper, even though Forsberg has been great this season. I think it's some sort of power play stack, or because that's really expensive, or you just go to Vegas 1 here. Eichel, Stone, Barbashev at 20,500, 16.5% top 2, 6.1% projected ownership. Now, if you want to turn it into a power play stack and put in Dorofeyev, for example, it becomes 22,800, still $1,900 less than Tampa 1. So you could do it. But for me, I'd probably just go Eichel, Stone, Barbashev. I have no interest in a Marner-centered line. He's like, obviously he's a very good player, but his strengths are at the wing, not really a center. So it would be Vegas 1, Vegas power play. Don't really like the Kings.
Yeah. On the Kings side, I think the only thing I really have interest in is that Kempe line. Kempe, Laferriere, Perry, 14K, 4.8% top 2 sacks, 7.8% ownership. That's the thing. It's like, do I want to play a negatively leveraged Los Angeles Kings line on the road? Not really, but they're the one line that even in a small sample has been able to create some offense. 61 shot attempts, 3 expected goals per 60. You do get a couple of guys on the top power play unit. Top power play unit with Clark, Fiala, and Perry is actually, their shooting percentage is way too high, but it's at least at 9.1 expected goals per 60, which is about league average for a top power play. And like any LA Kings power play unit being league average for a top power play is a miracle. So it's something, you know what I mean? Not that it's a very good power play spot overall, but like you said, Aiden Hill's not having a very good season. So I guess it would be Kings 1, but negative leverage, I don't know, man. I think it'd be more interested in like Kempe one-off, Laferriere one-off, something like that, rather than full stacking anything. I agree on the Vegas side. Like, I don't know. I don't even think Alexander Holtz is going to be in on the third line with Hurdle. I don't imagine they're going to stay together very long. I don't like the second line with Marner as the center, so it is the top line. You know, that top line for Vegas has been obviously incredibly good this season. 2.8 expected goals, 5.2 actual goals, shooting over 16%. But this is a line that, going back a few years, almost always has high shooting percentages, like not 16%, but like 12%, 11%. So they probably should be around 3.5 goals per 60, but that's still like 40% better than league average. And obviously, we know how good the power play has been. The Los Angeles penalty kill, bottom 8 in the league over the last 5 weeks, bottom 10 over the course of the full season, 20,500 with a lot of positive leverage. I think Vegas one is easily the best spot in this game. What concerns me is like Anton Forsberg's actually been really, really good this season. So, you know, that does suck a little bit. And the Kings, you know, they've been fine defensively, but you know, for me, it is Vegas one. I agree with you. I think I'd probably just leave in Barbashev. But, you know, if you want to take him out and put him Dorofeyev, just because it is a pretty good power play spot for Vegas, I think that's fine. But it's Vegas one, maybe the Kempe line from the Kings, but I think that's more 20 backs and above than single entry.
Yep. Let's talk about defensemen here. In the 6K and up, there's only one over 7K. It's Jake's jaw buddy, Roman Josi, 7,300. And then we have Radish, Dahlin, Chychrun, and contractually obligated to mention Jake Sanderson. I don't think there's a giant need to play Roman Josi here tonight. I think for me, if I was spending up, it'd be between Rasmus Dahlin, Darren Radish, and Jacob Chychrun. It is a good power play matchup for the Sens, so I think, you know, Jake Sanderson definitely in play. Like all these 6K guys, I prefer over Roman Josi. You can flip a coin for Radish or Dahlin 1-2, and then Chychrun 3 for me. But I think everyone in the 6K range is definitely viable here. So I don't think you have this super need to spend up for Josi as a one-off. You can throw him in with Nashville one if you're correlating, but I'd stick to the 6K guys.
Yeah, I will say, like, generally speaking, for defensemen, it seems like a stars or scrubs night for me. Like, there's not a lot in that 4 to 6K range that I like. Like, yeah, like Rasmus Dahlin has the top projection and a very high point per dollar value. So, like, he's a great option here tonight. I think Darren Radish against that Florida team that has been very leaky defensively, very fine. You know, Jacob Chychrun is having a great season. Roman Josi's probably been one of the hottest defensemen production-wise in the NHL over the last 5 weeks or whatever. Jake Sanderson's in a great power play matchup. Like, I'd be fine. You know, if you want to use just like Ottawa 2 and then add in Sanderson, I think that's fine. Or if you want just one off Sanderson, I think that's okay. For me, it goes Dahlin, Chychrun, Radish. But like you said, all 5 guys, 6K and above, I think are very playable here tonight. In the 5 to 6K range, I guess it's Matt Schaefer. I mean, it is the Devils. So, like, yes, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have a great point per dollar projection, but it is the Devils. So I don't mind him. I mean, John Carlson has a very strong point per dollar projection. So he's certainly there. Like Shane Gostisbehere against the Rangers. Gostisbehere might be a bit overpriced, but it is the Rangers. So, like, you know, what do I have to say? Brant Clark has a great point per dollar projection in a tough matchup, but he blocks a fair number of shots, so that gives him some additional value. Don't mind him. Vladislav Gavrikov, 4,300. I think he's playable. Definitely in live for a shot block bonus against Carolina. Maybe you can donk a power play assist or something like that. But once you get under 4K, then you get Tony DeAngelo has a very strong point per dollar projection again against New Jersey. Sean Walker, same thing for Carolina. JJ Mosier, perfectly fine at 3,500 against Florida. I think Bowen Byram is kind of interesting here tonight. I'm not super keen on the Buffalo Sabres forwards, but, you know, Byram is pretty cheap. He's skating very regularly over 20, if not over 22 minutes a game. So I think Byram's just fine. I'll mention Ryan Pollock. I think he scored last night, so maybe we're donkey chasing here, but I think he's perfectly fine at 3,600. Under 3K, Keandre Miller is the top projected defenseman under 3K by a fairly wide margin. Actually, it's him and Brett Pesce, but I wouldn't include Brett Pesce. Jeremy Lauzon's been playing like 19 minutes a game lately for Vegas. I think he's perfectly fine. And I'll mention Ryan McDonough from Tampa. I just think Tampa's in a pretty good matchup, and I do like a number of their defensemen here tonight.
Let's talk about goalies here. Top range, it is what it is. I'm not really interested in Bussy or Aiden Hill. I think I'd start with Andrei Vasilevsky. He's probably the top goalie on the board anyway. I have no issue with Vasilevsky, especially with all the injuries on the Florida side and Tkachuk not looking great. After that, like both goalies in the Islanders-Devils game, for me, I prefer Sorokin, but I think Jake Allen is fine. I think Thompson and Ullmark are both fine, but when you have Allen and Sorokin a bit cheaper, for me, I prefer them. The cheap guys just are not it right now. I guess like Anton Forsberg, maybe. I don't really want to play Tarasov just from the sheer fact that like I hate playing goalies in Tampa. It's just it just sucks. So probably Forsberg. I guess you could take a flyer on John Quick, but that just feels like you need to buckle your seatbelt and get ready for turbulence. But he is only 7K. But for me, I'd go Vasilevsky 1, Sorokin 2, Jake Allen 3. Don't mind Thompson or Ullmark.
Yeah, Vasilevsky, Allen, and Sorokin are the top 3 projected goalies here tonight, and the top 3 point per dollar projections as well. I think that gives a good indication of what people think of that Devils Islanders game. So I do think Vasilevsky's at the top, but Allen and Sorokin are perfectly fine. It's like, I think if you're playing Islanders, you just throw Sorokin in with them and just correlate your whole lineup. I do prefer Sorokin over Allen, just generally speaking, just because I don't have a lot of faith in the Devils to score goals. I can't believe I actually have more faith. Imagine thinking like 4 months ago that you'd have more faith in the Islanders scoring goals than you would the Devils. NHL season's wild stuff, man. So for me, it goes Vasilevsky, Sorokin, then Allen. Once you get under Sorokin at 7,600, there's really not a lot. Anton Forsberg does have the highest projection of the goalies under 7,600. I think I agree with that. I would go to Forsberg. Jonathan Quick is kind of interesting. Just like it is a lot. There should be a lot of shot volume. Could there be a lot of goals against as well?
Hell yeah.
Yes, there could. But I do think like if he can do like 3 goals against on 39 shots or something like that, then you might be okay. But it could also be like 6 goals against on 39 shots, and your lineup's cooked. So I think if I was looking under Sorokin, Forsberg is the one guy I really have interest in. Otherwise, I'm probably trying to get up to at least 7,600 to pay for Sorokin.
Yep. We will be back on the 25th, I believe. Wednesday, the 25th. So we'll see you in 3 weeks. Screw goalies. Who are you liking for your hat trick pick?
I'm gonna go with the guy that's returning tonight. Why not? Love to see an injury return. Let's go with Pierre-Luc Dubois.
At chalk at 2,700, that would absolutely end my night.
Yeah, me too.
We're here for it, though. I'm going to go Nikolai Ehlers because the Rangers suck, and I want them to tank for mom savior Gavin McKenna.
All right.
That's a way to – we'll see you in 3 weeks. But,
yeah.
Enjoy your break, everybody. I'm sure we'll be in the Discord. I got nothing else to do. Good luck, everybody, and we'll see you in the Discord tonight.
Yeah, good luck tonight, everyone.